Until now, it was said that women carry in their bodies the DNA of the lovers they once had, but it seems the reality might be far worse. Let's talk about microchimerism. Microchimerism is the presence of genetically different cells inside a woman's body. It can occur for different reasons. But today, science is already able to confirm that women carry in their bodies the DNA of the people with whom they had intimate relations. But it's important to understand how all of this begins. Let me break it down. Scientists started looking into this after performing autopsies on women and discovering cells with DNA different from their own inside them. The first finding was a link between pregnancy and this phenomenon. They found the fetal cells could cross the placenta and permanently integrate into the mother's tissue. They also saw this happen in women who had received organ transplants. But then when they analyzed women who had never been pregnant nor had organ transplants, they reached another conclusion, that it could be due to vanishing twin syndrome, that is, the woman was initially meant to have a sibling in the womb. But that sibling was lost. However, after digging deeper, they tried to answer why some women were found to carry multiple types of male DNA in their body. The only explanation they found was that women retain male DNA through sperm cells, that is, through the men they sleep with. And today, evidence suggests this is no longer just a myth. This new discovery also overlaps with another statistical study that showed a correlation between promiscuity and increased cancer risk, a link that themselves admitted they couldn't fully explain at the time. Now, in addition to the reasons already given for why this might occur, researchers suggest microchimerism may also play a role, connecting it to long-term health issues in women, autoimmune diseases, immune system deterioration, and even cancer. We must also remember what I explained in another video: sexually transmitted diseases and the exchange of bacteria and germs with partners, along with the physical and psychological risks of promiscuity. Microchimerism adds yet another reason to consider living a more virtuous lifestyle, this time backed by science, not morality. And without a doubt, it's something that, once you know about it, makes you think twice before getting close to a promiscuous person. But there's more. Researchers are now studying how microchimerism affects men as well. Although there's still much research to be done, evidence suggests that a man who has intimate relations with a woman who herself has had many partners may also end up with cells from her former partners inside his body, though in much smaller amounts than in women. Still, the possibility is being studied, and so far, it looks plausible. Now let's clarify something, because I know some people will say, well, if you use a condom, problem solved. But that's not true. First, because when it comes to STDs, condoms don't protect you against everything such as HPV. Then, even if you use a condom, you'd still need to avoid oral sex, deep kissing, and basically any exchange of fluids or bacteria which everyone carries. So, the only way to guarantee that you're safe from both STDs and microchimerism would be to have intimate relations over a video call, which sounds absurd, but it's another reason to stay away from promiscuous behavior. In other words, another point in favor of monogamy. Now, while I was finishing editing this video, I realized I forgot to mention something. Many psychologists and especially sexologists keep insisting that there's nothing wrong with fully enjoying your sexuality, and that if you want to sleep with 50 people, you should do it without worrying about being judged by so-called repressed, outdated morality. Honestly, I think professionals who say this are being irresponsible. With everything we know today, both scientifically and psychologically, ignoring the risks of promiscuity makes them look unprofessional at best. We now know better than ever that reckless or promiscuous sexual behavior has consequences for both physical and mental health, and not being aware of this, or worse, refusing to acknowledge it, undermines their credibility. Sure, they'll tell people what they want to hear, and they make money teaching young people how to safely have orgies, or how to manage jealousy in open, polyamorous, or hybrid relationships, but failing to warn about the dangers of frequent, varied sexual encounters leaves them at rock bottom professionally. And then to accuse those of us who raise these concerns of being judgmental, that's laughable. Because, in truth, I believe they're the ones speaking from ignorance, or worse, from a hidden agenda. To be clear, I only began studying and speaking about promiscuity by accident, while working with patients suffering from anxiety and depression. We noticed a pattern. Many of them, especially women, had fallen into depression shortly after significantly increasing their sexual activity. It turned out they were trying to fill an emotional void, which was already a red flag that something wasn't right in their brains. And in fact, plenty of earlier studies had already linked promiscuous behavior to either the cause or the consequence of anxiety, depression, and other mental health disorders. So, when we add everything up, STDs, microchimerism, loss of self-respect, the conclusion becomes pretty clear. Promiscuity very likely doesn't bring anything good. And let's be clear, not for women. Not for men. Promiscuity harms both.